Hey, I'm Anthony Bourdain. Did you know the podcast, Mike's Daily Podcast, is completely and independently created and produced? Did you know just about every podcast you listen to is part of a huge corporation or a huge network or simply lifted off of a radio station? I eat a lot of food, and I like to eat things that were just born yesterday. Did you know big name podcast players like iTunes and Stitcher show only podcasts on their front page that actually pay for that place, that position, or they pay for advertising, or they have big names like me that have been on TV or film? Please do what you can to support independent podcasts. I'm Anthony Bourdain, and now on with Mike's Daily Podcast, a show that has nothing to do with food, because if it did, I would not eat it. And I'm going to die of a heart attack soon anyway, so who gives a...
This show is clean, pretty much.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 807. Hello, it's Mike Matthews broadcasting from the last place on earth located somewhere in Podcaster Valley, California. Today it is the return of the much-loved feature, Do You Know Dat, where we hear interesting news items that you didn't know. Plus we hear from Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, the Brewmaster, and stocks go crazy for a new burger restaurant, one that has that elusive umami. Mike's Daily Podcast. That's a type of a flavor. I don't know that much about it. My brain's like a tsunami. Mike's Daily Podcast. Whirling bits of thought inside of my bald head. Hey, on the last show, something strange happened instead. Floyd the Floor Man, he told us that he was deathly afraid of rabbits. I think that maybe I have a bad habit, and that is I tend to like to sleep in. Mike's Daily Podcast. I know that all of us wish we could sleep in, but there's something that makes me have a tough time leaving my bed. Podcast. It might be that I am shackled to my bed because I have night terrors, and I get up. No. That's not something to joke about. Some people have those. I hope if you do have those, you get help for that, because those are... It's important to get your rest, right? Look who just walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita, the rodeo queen. How y'all doing?
And it's a disgruntled fiddle player tell you what.
What?
You know what, Mike? I want to tell you one rule about comedy.
Okay, go ahead.
Polite comedy is crap comedy.
What are you trying to say?
If you want to make a joke about night terrors and offend a bunch of people that have night terrors, you should have the cojones enough to do it. Now go and do a joke about night terrors. Go.
Night terrors are what you do have...
Okay, that ain't going anywhere.
You're right. Look who else just walked in.
Hello there, Mike. I make the root beer. I'm the brewmaster. Oh, boy.
Brewmaster, have you ever put any umami in your root beer? That's the thing. That's the flavor these days, is umami.
Mike, I once saw a really beautiful woman, and I went, ooh, mommy.
Okay, that's kind of Oedipally disturbing, but yeah, it is an odd word. It means savory taste. It's one of the 5 basic tastes, together with sweet, sour, bitter, and salt. And I call
Mike, who are you calling that word?
No, I'm calling that I just find that so ridiculous. I think it's just a fancy, hip word right now that little hipsters with their fuzzy red beards can, eat and go, ooh, I'm eating umami. And I think that just does not sound right no matter how you say it. And basically, it's MSG. So that's like the stuff that you didn't want in your food that you got at the local Asian restaurant. What the heck now people want it again? I don't get it. Monosodium glutamate. Just so, but it's not supposed to be salt. I just say lie to the hipsters. Tell them, oh yes, Mr. Bon Iver, you are getting delicious umami in this meal. When in reality, all you've done is dumped a salt shaker on it.
Mock salt's not good for y'all.
That's right. Salt's bad for you. It does crazy things to your blood pressure. So basically, you should try and avoid it. But now we're not because we want umami. And the crowd goes wild for it. So, Mike, if I want to get rid of hipsters that are walking around me, I should take out a bunch of salt shakers and throw it at them. That's right. They'll love you for it. Okay, that's good to remember. Bye, I gotta terrorize some hipsters. Yeah, so I'm finding that when I talk to a foodie, I get agitated. Thank you. Because they talk about things like umami, and then they want to go eat at a restaurant with overpriced, overhyped food. It's just like the same people that go nuts about vinyl. Yeah, I want to go back and live in the days of yore when we had vinyl and scratchy records and whatnot and that nice warm sound, but I can't tell the difference between that and an MP3. So go ahead, eat another $10 bag of chips while listening to your Jack White vinyl. I'll be over here listening to a ringtone from 1999.
Oh, Mac, is it the safety dance?
You bet your sweet socks it is. Boop, 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 boop. I love that. That's what I want to listen to. Jack White. Has someone let him know yet that Edward Scissorhands is over 20 years old? It's time to find another look.
I thought he looked more like that guy from The Raven.
That was a cool movie. Oh, and by the way, I finally saw Iron Man 3.
Get out of here. That movie's been out forever.
It has. I finally got around to seeing it. My roommate, he does a podcast called Marvel at the Movies, which you can find on iTunes, and I guess the website for it is marvelatthemovies.libsyn.com. It's a new podcast. He's just getting it off the ground. The budget's really low, so you just gotta go and listen to it and give him some support. Yay, supporting independent podcasts. But anyway, he let me borrow his DVD of Iron Man 3, and I finally watched it. I rather liked it. I liked it way better than Iron Man 2.
Mark, I get the impression you're rather behind on your Marvel movie watching.
It is so true. All my superhero movies, way behind. So I'm going to get caught up with my cool roommate that has all these movies. Then I can geek out and hang out with my hipster friends, and I won't look completely like I am Rumpelstiltskin.
Rumpelstiltskin.
What would I do without you, Disgruntled Fiddle Player?
I don't know, but I ain't gonna give you fiddle lessons because I don't do that anymore. I'm afraid of fiddles.
Even though the Brewmaster was born in one from a flea market?
Yeah, even though that. Mark, if Lloyd the Floorman can be afraid of rabbits, I can be afraid of fiddles. For I am the Disgruntled Fiddle Player.
Yay, support your local fiddle player today by going to the local farmer's market where you will find a fiddle player playing it hot, as the Charlie Daniels Band used to say. And speaking of hot hamburgers. Well, apparently, the New York-based burger chain called Shake Shack, I've not been to one of those yet, but according to Reuters, growth-hungry investors snapped up shares offered by Shake Shack, setting the stage for a sizzling debut for their trading, for the first day of their trading tomorrow. Shares of the company, which has won a cult following for its rich milkshakes and hormone and antibiotic-free burgers priced at $21 each. Ooh, I must waste my disposable income on that. It's valuing the chain at about $745 million. It started off as a hot dog cart in a park. Shake Shack raised $105 million from the initial public offering of 5 million shares. The IPO market has been particularly fruitful recently for so-called fast casual restaurant operators hoping to replicate the scorching growth of Chipotle. Shares of Habit Restaurant, oh yeah, that one, that got started over in Ventura County, didn't it? I used to see that all the time, all over in the Ventura County area, and now it's all over the place. In fact, one just opened not too far away from me here in Podcastro Valley. That has risen more than 80% since their market debut 2 months ago. Shake Shack attracts, as you would imagine, a relatively affluent clientele, which spends roughly $30 for a meal for two, considerably more than dinners spent at struggling fast food giant McDonald's. Shake Shack's challenge is not to expand too quickly. Shake Shack has 63 restaurants, more than half outside the United States. They said they plan to open 10 U.S. company-operated restaurants each year, could eventually have at least 450 locations. Shake Shack founder Daniel Meyer, who is a restaurateur, he founded it in 2001. He waited 5 years to open the second restaurant. When Chipotle went public in 2006, it had almost 500 restaurants. And as we approach Super Bowl weekend, you may remember they did that really interesting commercial that showed how they are so environmentally conscious and animal friendly. It had a Willie Nelson song playing in the background. Anyway, they did not do so well as Shake Shack. Shake Shack's domestic average annual sales in 2013 were double Chipotle's. I'm not digging the Chipotle's lately. I walked in there and gone, wow, this is a messy, dirty place, and it looks like all chaos. Like somebody took one of those metal platters, just threw it on the wall, did a total Captain America with it, and sliced up the place. The one we have in Podcastro Valley burnt down like 2 years ago, and they rebuilt it in like a week. I don't even bother. There's plenty of other burrito places around here that do the exact same thing, and they're better prices than that, less chaos, a little bit cleaner. But what do you think about all this? Are you a foodie? Do you love food? Do you love to pay a bunch of money for high quality food that has flavors other than salt and sour and sugar? Ooh, big whoop! Email me, MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-807-News. We read your comments on the section emails from email. Also email me there if you'd like to be a guest on the show or if you'd like to sponsor the show. MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-807-News. There's also the website, MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Yes, go there. You can find our Instagram account, where we are on Twitter, Facebook. Like the Facebook page when I post a new show. Share it with your friends and more people find out about us that way. And also go to where we are on iTunes. And you can rate the show and comment on the show. If you do that, that helps our ranking and more people find out about us because, as you heard in the beginning of the show, iTunes ain't going to talk about us at all because we don't give them any money. They could give a whoop. Neither does Stitcher or SoundCloud or Spreaker. But what the heck? I'm on all those. And Mixcloud, Podomatic, Yelp, Tumblr, YouTube. Look for the links to all of those places there at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. And the Amazon link. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, go through Mike's Daily Podcast. You'll see the link there on the left-hand side of the page. Go there to buy whatever it is you're going to buy on Amazon. That helps us out. There's also the Daily Podcast picture, the blog, and all my past interviews are there at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Oh, as well as the link to the radio station that I am on weekends. It's a country station. And it is countrycrossroadsradio.com. You can hear that as well at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
It's Bison Bentley's Do You Know Dat?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley, and Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that? Do you know that? Yes, that lovable, annoying character on Mike's Daily Podcast, Bison Bentley, he likes to say, do you know dat? And here are a couple of things you probably didn't know. So you will be able to say at the end of this, I know dat now, Mike. And it begins with a story having to do with the internet. Yes, from the Social Network, Trent Reznor. But before the social network and the social media was brought into this world, Walter Isaacson he's a biographer of singular geniuses such as Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs. He takes on a slew of them, the people behind the internet, in the book The Innovators, How a Group of Hackers, Geniuses, and Geeks Created the Digital Revolution. Here are just a few of the masters that laid the digital foundation. Ada Lovelace. Using her skills as a mathematician, Lord Byron's daughter wrote the first algorithm meant for computer analysis in 1843 and thus became the first published programmer. There was Grace Hopper. While working on Harvard's 10,000-pound Mark I in the 1940s, Hopper developed the compiler, a concept that would allow programs to be made for multiple machines. Her team also coined the term bug after they found a moth in the wire relays. Then there was